I wasn't looking for sympathetic applause. I do feel fortunate. I love my job, but I've worked really hard at it. But I have had strokes of good fortune. If I had not had an English teacher called Cecil Dorman when I was 12 years old, who put a copy of The Merchant of Venice into my hand and put me in a play with adults and said to me when I was 14, have you ever thought of acting as a career? None of this would have happened. Now, many people have influenced my life and continue to. But if Cecil Dorman hadn't been my English teacher, everything would have been different. Everything. Because his influence was the deciding factor in how in what I became passionate about when I was 12 and 13. So, good fortune, and it's why in my profession, I think it's always important to remember that things can turn around overnight, almost. I mean, I was 46. I was 46 when I was cast in Next Generation. And, you know, a career is supposed to be established and well-made by then. Excuse me, I'm so sorry about this. I'm going to have some more water. And in the meantime, let's have another question.
Hello.
Hello.
I just want to say thank you for running through my town with the Olympic torch. It was really cool and I absolutely loved seeing it. But my question is, what is the biggest challenge you've ever faced as an actor?
What is the what?
The biggest challenge you've ever faced as an actor?
Right now, one of the biggest challenges is dealing with this horrible background noise here. What is it? Is it the speakers? That rumbling, grumbling sound. It's through there. Yes, and the town that you mentioned is Croydon, isn't it? Yes? I carried the Olympic torch through, well, not quite the centre of Croydon, but the outskirts of Croydon, on the first day that the torch was in London, which was the week before the games began, and it was an astonishing experience. I've never seen English crowds behaving like that in my life before. It was, yeah, I know it was the first day of the school holidays, and so there were a lot of people out. But the one thing that impressed me more than anything else, beside the numbers and the enthusiasm, was the visible diversity of our country today. And it gave me so much pride and satisfaction to see the diversity of peoples coming out to see the Olympic torch go by in Croydon. And I think it's something that very often we either take for granted or we grumble about, but it is one of the elements of Britain today which I think is most exciting and makes me most optimistic about the future. Diversity. The question was about a challenging role, and none of them are easy, I find. Badly written roles are challenging, or roles that the writer has really not given much thought to. There's a character in As You Like It called Duke Senior. He's sometimes called the banished Duke. And that's a really hard role because it's not that well written. I mean, I know that's heresy to say that about Shakespeare, but it's not well written. And I found that a challenge every night that I had to do it. But if you're playing a role like Macbeth or Vladimir in Waiting for Godot, yes, there's a... it's not a challenge, it's more like a stimulation. is what it feels like. And a great burst of excitement that you get from confronting a role like that.
Good afternoon, Sir Patrick. Before I ask my question, a very close friend of mine asked me to pass on his best regards, the Reverend Ian Walker from Mirfield in Yorkshire. And my
that's
question
lovely,
is...
thank you very much. Ian Walker, who is I think exactly my age, we were both choir boys together in Mirfield Parish Church. We played cricket together and we were in the church pantomimes. And I remember him very well. Give him my greetings.
I will do. My question is, if the creators of Star Trek came to you now and asked you to do it all again, would you do it?
Without hesitation. However, I'm assuming that you mean if it were to go right back to the beginning and start all over again, or to start all over again, now, like yesterday's Enterprise, you know, or Groundhog Day. No, I wouldn't do that. It's done. It's in my past. It's over. And it was only one stage in my working life, and it was a very important stage, but if I were to do it again, it would be looking back in the wrong kind of way, I think. Yes?
Hello.
Hello.
If you were living in the future, as seen in Next Generation, do you think you would join Starfleet?
I might want to, but I'm not smart enough for Starfleet. Really, no. I left school when I was 15 and 2 days old. My birthday's in July. For me, it was always a double cause of celebration when the summer holidays came around. No, I'm not academic or scholarly in the way that would be required for Starfleet Academy, I'm afraid. I'm not Wesley Crusher. Or Will Wheaton. Now, he's the one, apart from Jonathan Frakes, of course, who was here in London a week ago, so nobody wanted to invite him twice, and I understand that. And of course, I've just embarked on a speech which is completely meaningless. So I'm just going to stop it right there. And instead I will say, I have recently been seeing Will Wheaton again after many, many years. And in fact, when I saw him in the lobby of the hotel in Calgary where we did a bit, yeah, it made me scream too. I didn't know who he was. And he came over and gave me a hug, and I was going, get off! Get away from me! He was, I think he was 12 or 13 when we started filming Next Generation. And he's 40 now. He's a fantastic person. He has become a really wonderful man and a great individual with a really amazing life. Yes?
Hi, my name's Emma, and I would like to know, please, if you know what the thing between Captain Picard and Guinan actually was, and if you don't know, if no one told you, what you actually thought it was.
Do you want the truthful answer, or do you want me to make one up? The truth. Both. I have no idea. I thought it was a great strand in the story of the Enterprise and some of the characters, that there was a previous something, a connection between Guinan and Jean-Luc, but it was never addressed directly, and we never knew what it was, and I don't recall Whoopi ever talking to me about it, and nor the writers either, or Jean, but it made for a very kind of stimulating relationship, I think. But they were both smart and compassionate people, and with a lot of depth to their personalities. And I think that was the one of the principal causes of that very tight relationship that they had. And I was going to say last night, how many of you were here last night for the 5 Captains? Oh, lots. That's great. Wasn't it fun? And you know, it's a treat for us to be there together. To look along that row of faces and think of that history and how far we have all come, from Mr. Shatner here at one end to Scott at the other end. It's extraordinary. But one question never came in my direction last night, and it was about what did Star Trek mean to people, and why was it so successful and meant so much to so many people's lives. And I was going to tell the story of what Whoopi Goldberg told me when she joined the series in the 2nd season. Now, Whoopi Goldberg had just won an Academy Award. She was a huge movie star, had her own stand-up comedy show, which was packing Radio City Music Hall. And yet, she asked to be on a syndicated weekly television series. Unprecedented. So early on, I said to her, it doesn't make any sense. Tell us, why did you want to do the series? And she told me that when she was growing up on the West Side, Hell's Kitchen in New York, she watched a lot of television. And one of her favorite shows was the original Star Trek series. And she saw there, on the bridge of the Enterprise, a black woman with authority and commanding respect for her intelligence and skills and ability. And Whoopi said, and I said to myself, well, at least one of us made it. That story moved me.